So we need a Syslog server to run on our workstation here. If you're running a Linux machine, Syslog is built in. We can do some Googling to find out how to turn it on. If you're using a Windows machine here in your lab, and you want something simple to use, I highly recommend using this Kiwi Syslog server. It's pretty easy to set up, pretty easy to get a hold of, but let's go through some caveats with that. First off, to get that Kiwi Syslog server so that we can collect syslogs on my workstation here, we need to go to Google and do a search. Now, a company by the name of SolarWinds makes the Kiwi Syslog product, but there's a problem out there on the internet. There are some hijinks out there, and there are lots of websites that allow you to download that Kiwi Syslog server for free, but it includes a special Trojan horse virus inside of it. So let's make sure we get the software from the right location first. So the way I do that is I do a Google search for Kiwi Syslog free. And what we're going to find out is that we come up with all kinds of stuff. A lot of the websites that we see here say Kiwi Syslog, and that is not the website you want to go to. That website, if you download the software from there, I guarantee you, you will download a version of the software that has a Trojan horse in it. I don't recommend using that at all. We should probably stay away from the download.com one as well. The one that we want here is right from SolarWinds itself, the solarwinds.com. They are the one who own and make and maintain Kiwi Syslog and the free version. There is a paid version for this software as well. It costs a few $100s. I do not recommend that for your lab. This free one works wonderfully. If you're looking for Syslog software in your enterprise, I highly recommend doing some research to find out what your needs are for Syslog before you just go buy some product. Like I said, this product is going to work great for our small network here. Go down here and I can do the download the free tool. It's 100% free. It's going to ask me to fill out some information here. Go ahead and fill that out. It'll let you download the software even without a real email address in there. You do need to put a email address. It just doesn't have to be a real email address. I'm not going to go through and download it this way because I am connected over serial links in my network, which makes my network performance here ridiculously slow. So I've already downloaded the software. I've gone through all this, put my name in there, downloaded the software, and it's right here. Here's the setup file. So we're going to run that setup file for the Kiwi Syslog server. Looks like my PC needs the .NET framework, so we're going to have to install that .NET framework first for Windows. I'm going to speed this part up a little so that you don't have to watch the progress bar moving on your screen. I'm sure if you're a network administrator or are working with computers, you will get to watch this all the time. All right, looks like our .NET framework got installed. Let's go install our Kiwi Syslog server now. And we have an option here. We can install the Kiwi Syslog server as a service. Now, when we install it as a service, every time we boot up our Windows workstation here, it's going to automatically load the Kiwi Syslog server and start listening for traffic. Otherwise, we can install it as an application, which is what I'm going to do in this case. And the application just is allowing us in this lab environment to launch SolarWinds Kiwi Syslog server and collect some logs, examine them, and then when we're done, we can just either uninstall or not launch that app again. We don't have to worry about a Syslog service running on our workstation. So we'll select the standalone application and just do everything else as standard here. And then I'm going to let it run the Kiwi Syslog server right away. So now we have Kiwi Syslog all installed here. The default settings have been applied, which are just fine. When we set this up with the free version, we can support up to 5 message sources, meaning 5 unique IP addresses sending log messages into our Syslog server. In order to do that, we need to set those up under something called inputs in our setup. So we're going to go into our Kiwi Syslog server, go into setup, and I'm going to choose inputs down here on the list. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create a list in this box here of the IP addresses that are going to report in with their syslog messages. So one of those devices, we'll start with router C. We have 10.100.0.3, that's one of our devices. We're going to add 100.2, that's another one. I'm going to add 100.1, and then I'm going to add 10.0.0.1, just so that if my router A ends up sending messages with a source address of 10.0.0.1, it'll still record them in our syslog. I also have in here 10.100.0.1, which is also router A. So regardless of which address reports from router A, we'll still be able to get that message. This is a strange feature that is part of the Cisco router, where if the Syslog server is connected to the same interface that the router is sending out the syslog messages of, it won't use the configured interface IP address to send the message. It will use the interface closest to the server. Anyway, here's how I have that set up. We're going to hit OK.